Hello, love bugs, and welcome to January 2024's Mooncast. So, we're going to be diving into the energies that are influencing us as we move through the cycles of the moon. Now, the reason that we look at these cycles of the moon is because they influence tremendous change in our journeys, and it's happening every single month, literally like clockwork, in a way that shifts our consciousness, shifts our minds, our hearts, and our physical environments into greater alignment with our higher dharmic path. And when we understand this, we can leverage the information that's available to us in the systems of numerology and astrology. I work with an astronumerological system that allows me to pinpoint certain energies that are going to be arising for each of us in the collective so that we can leverage that information and apply that wisdom in a way that sets us up for higher and higher experiences as we move through this month and all year long. I do a mooncast every single month, so please stay tuned as I dive into what's happening between the new moon that is appearing on January 11th, and then we'll bring our attention to the energy of the full moon that's happening on January 25th. This particular moon cycle is all about revealing. It's all about bringing forward aspects that have been hidden. Now, in general, that's what the moon energy does. Each of us has our own alignment with the moon. Each of us is connected with hidden aspects of our charts, of our personalities, of our skills, the things that we're here to bring forward into this world, our gifts, our purpose. All of these things have layers of awareness, things we know that are true about ourselves, and then layers of things that have been hidden, things that we don't yet remember, things that we're discovering about ourselves, and things that are also changing as we grow and mature and expand personally, professionally, spiritually. All of these things influence our transition from living very karmic-based pathways to living dharmic-based pathways. Karmic being the pathways where we are clearing the energies within ourselves that are unstable, out of sync, not aligned with who we truly are. They're patterns of ego, patterns of personality that have overlaid our experience during the time when we are awakening to our spiritual truth. The dharmic pathway is that pathway when we've awakened to this higher truth of ourselves, and we're now able to walk in sync with our greatest gifts and contributions to the world. Now, obviously, maybe not obviously to everyone, the karmic path can be bumpier, and the experience we have with the moon can be a little bit more intense as it helps us to cleanse and clear patterns of ego and behavior that isn't serving our greater, highest truths. Those dharmic pathways, when we're aligned with those, we tend to experience a little lighter transition in energy. It's not always the case, and in fact, January is a pretty intense energy, which you probably already have noticed as it began right at the onset. As soon as New Year's hit, there was a huge shifting of energy where a lot of people got sort of I call it a frequency flu or a transitional illness that creates a disturbance in the field that helps you clear things out. It helps you to cleanse any leftover energies that really aren't serving where you're headed for the new year. Now, this month is really all about cleansing, so the intensity of cleansing is heightened compared to what it was last month and even last year. We're really entering into an intense cycle. Now, this new moon that's coming up on January 11th, I want to dive in. We've got 3 things that I think are really important for us to pay attention to with the new moon, and then again for the full moon. Now, how these cycles work is that the new moon is continuously opening us up to expansive frequencies, expansive awareness, expansive experiences. So it's creating new pathways for us, new ideas, a new trajectory. That happens every time we land into a new moon. Now, each new moon is going to have its own layer, its own fragrance, its own energy behind it, right? Its own mental and emotional pattern that's influencing change. But that new moon prepares us for new energies and new experiences. The full moon comes and says, I'm here to help cleanse and make space to literally create a vacuum in your experience, mentally, emotionally, and physically, that allows you to make room for the next new moon. Because we can't continue to do new things if we aren't letting go and releasing our identification, attachment, connection to older energies or things that have been outworn. So this cycle is serving us month to month, and everyone is experiencing the highs and lows that come with our alignment of bringing new things in, releasing things, just like inhaling and exhaling. Sometimes we take really beautiful deep inhale breaths and we release a nice deep exhale. And sometimes we're breathing more shallow because we're feeling more anxious in our life story. And so we breathe in shallow and we breathe out shallow, and we experience a dynamic of decreased oxygen production and well-being in the body. The same is true when we're moving through these cycles. We're experiencing a receiving of new energy and new flow, and a releasing of energy and old flow. And so sometimes we have a deep inhale of a new experience and a deep exhale of old energies. January is a deep breath, a very deep breath. So let's look at the three things that are really impacting us as we approach the new moon. So we come into the new moon, what we're noticing is that we are creating space or becoming aware. It's probably a better way of languaging that. We're becoming aware of new information on the horizon. You might be at this point watching this aware that you're starting to feel something coming in. There's this new fresh energy, and depending on your connection with the divine and your own intuition, you might have a sense of that really early on. I sense something coming, I'm not quite sure what it is, but I'm ready and I'm open and I'm curious, right? That's how we want to approach that energy. You can feel this revealing. So the first thing we want to pay attention to is, as that new moon approaches, we're going to feel a revealing of hidden gems. These are skills, gifts, different aspects of our beingness, our personality, those traits that are really wanting to rise up into our greater awareness to help us succeed more deliberately, to help us experience greater success. So the revealing is helping us to align more with that dharmic path I was talking about. So the first thing we want to pay attention to is there's new information being revealed, which means that's going to be revealed in the form of new information coming in from maybe a source through the media, through something you're consuming on social media or in conversations. It might be something that arises in a meditation or in your intuitive awareness. It might be something that just drops in like a knowing into your field. It might be a conversation you have with a family member or a friend. Whatever that is, there's something new that's arising into your consciousness. It's arising into your mind for reflection. It's arising into the mind to inspire creativity. So how you receive those new ideas is then transmuted into a creative expression. So the second thing we want to understand about this new moon is it's really inviting action towards the new information. Doesn't need to be a big action, but it needs to be something that really says, I'm willing to initiate this idea into the world. I say yes to it, and I initiate it with this gesture of action. So being willing to take a step forward towards that. That could be as simple as, I'm going to write this idea down. I'm going to say, yes, I am on board. I am in. I will partner with the universe. I will clear those things I need to clear. I will take those actions. I will commit today to fulfilling this idea. And so it's in that commitment that it becomes something physical in writing. Maybe it's something that you write and you fold up and you put under your mattress, or you save in a box, or you simply write and release into the universe. There's no perfect way to do that, but taking a step forward is really key. It could be that you take a step forward by making a phone call, or you're inspired to hire someone to help support something that you're moving towards. Whatever it is, really leaning into a greater trust of self. What is that next action for me? So this new moon, again, January 11th, you're going to be feeling that. Now, the new moon energy is very potent on the 11th. Right before the 11th, leading up to it, And then as the 11th passes and that new moon begins to wane, you're going to feel that shifting of energy, usually within a 12 to 24 hour period after that new moon. The potency of it begins to fade. The reason I share it that way is it's important to understand that you're getting messages before the new moon that want to be activated and acted upon just about the time of the new moon, if not immediately after, in order to really seize the potency of the conscious energy that is arising. Alongside this new moon energy, the sun is speaking to all of us. We're getting bursts of solar activity. The solar activity has been intense, it's been powerful, and it's been speaking with the earth, and her Schumann resonance, the frequency of the heartbeat of the earth, has been responding, and we're getting this incredible flow in the quantum field that's helping us shift out of karma into dharma, choosing higher timelines and higher paths. So the third thing that we want to pay attention to for this new moon is that we are also listening to ways we can point ourselves towards greater stability. So you're being pointed towards those aspects of your path that are aligned for your highest good, not necessarily aligned for what you think you want in the immediate, but for those things that really are serving a quantum leap towards your dharmic path. And this is really important because right now there is this shifting energy happening in humanity. This shifting energy where we're all choosing conscious pathways forward. We're choosing whether or not we're going to take these higher timelines that are devoted to our connection to the divine, connected to love, connecting to be of service, and really living out our purpose in this time, which is part of this evolutionary shift. All of us are aligned with supporting this evolutionary shift in some way. So again, just sort of to recap that new moon energy, you're feeling new awareness come in. So you've got this new information, a revealing of energy, a revealing specifically of maybe new skills, new traits, new things that you could be moving out into the world with an inspiration to take creative action. And rather than just writing it down or symbolically in your mind or heart saying yes, it really is encouraged that we take a physical action. This particular moon has this strong Capricorn energy, and it has a solid partnership and stability energy. So what that means is it's really asking you to have a handshake with the universe, to do something as a symbolic gesture of action forward. So whatever that is for you, just say yes and take an action. The third thing that we're doing is really paying attention to our greater stability and allowing changes to begin to take place that move us into alignment with our highest good. Now that one can feel a little bit tricky. It'll be different for everyone, but you'll just notice that stability is coming in, whether that's financial support, people who are supporting you. You're going to start noticing more people, allies, support coming in as we begin to transition into the latter half of this month. Now, as we go in towards that full moon, let's take a breath. The new moon opening us up to new ideas, new energies, really activating things in us. The second half of the month really beginning shortly after that new moon. So just within a few days of this mooncast, you're going to be feeling energies that are triggering you. And by triggering, I mean they're just creating a little discomfort, frustration. They're catching your attention. It doesn't have to be experienced in a negative way. It could just be that you keep being pulled towards something. You feel like this need to address something, or something is just bringing a little bit of agitation in that's catching your attention. That's that full moon beginning to work with you to let you know, yes, we hear your commitment. We feel that movement forward. We feel your devotion to the new energy that you're bringing in. And as a result of that commitment and taking an action forward, we now want to help you. And by we mean the greater conscious allies around you, the universe, the divine, those angels, those guides that are supporting you are helping to clear things out of the pathway that will now allow you to fulfill your vision at a grander scale. So the clearing away needs to happen in order to bring you more new information, more new resources, more stability, more prosperity, more love, more connection. You're now going to make room for an even bigger influx of support. So the latter half of the month is going to be about things being cleared away. Now, this is probably going to be bumpy. So I'll say out of these three things, it's not just individually you're experiencing these shifts. Collectively, there are some big things that are going to be transpiring and shifting, clearing, moving out of the way for the greater global impact of humanity as a whole, not just as, in what's happening in your life as an individual. So this full moon is a cleanser. Now, this is a Leo full moon, and it's all about change. We have the energy of the 5 coming in fierce. We have the energy of 5 is change, transformation, freedom from. The 7 is leap of faith. And the 2 that shows up on this energy when we look deeper into the chart is the energy of the 2 of diamonds, saying your partnerships and connections are about to change. So the people in your life are about to change, and it's about to be abrupt, and it's going to be a triggering of the ego. So you're going to feel yourself being triggered at the level of old patterns or the patterns of people around you. So you might notice other people's patterns aren't as palatable, it's the word I'm looking for, than they used to be. So the ability to really take in people's behavior that you once tolerated, you may not be able to do that quite as easily now, which is an invitation for love, for transmutation, for transformation, for clearing the path. Maybe it's time for you to move in a direction that is different than the people that are around you. Or it might be an opportunity for you to move out of a transactional relationship with someone where there's judgment and, you do this for me, I'll do that for you, and to elevate into a more sacred relationship, which is one where you really honor each other at the level of your souls, the level of your being, of the level of the gifts that you're bringing to the world, really seeing that everyone is on purpose and awakening together. And so you choose to be in a relationship with people where you are awakening together consciously. Now, that won't be possible in all relationships in this moment. It's all based on the journey that you're on and what serves you the most in your awakening. But be sure that the latter half of this month is going to be about cleansing. It's going to be similar to the energy you've been cleansing already. You've been sort of making way for this new moon, and you're going to go into another cycle, pretty intense cleansing, and pretty intense cleansing of thinking patterns. So when we think Leo and we think this 5 energy and we think about this the other energies that are supporting it from a chart perspective, we get the sense that big shifts are happening. So we're going to be cleansing first hidden aspects of your own ego. So patterns that you have in relationship, things where you expect people to give you certain types of feedback or support or to behave in certain ways with you. You're either going to find that people don't show up quite the way that you want. They don't take an interest in your life quite the way that you do with theirs. Or you might notice that there are parts of you that really want to rise up so that you can have deeper connections with others. So you're going to be going through a shift in your own ego, how you identify with other people in your story. Now, of course, that's you too. How do you identify with yourself? How do you connect with yourself? Does your soul and your body feel separate? Do you feel integrated? There are lots of bigger questions that are going to come up. This will be quite existential for many of you, and a time of really becoming aware of patterns that aren't serving, and sort of I feel the frequency of that kind of like that humbling energy, and yet it's not like it's trying to humble you. There's sort of a leaning into awareness in a gentle way where you're really giving yourself grace for the awareness that maybe some of the patterns that you haven't really been serving. So big shift in those patterns. The second thing that's going to be happening is that you're going to be choosing who it is that you're traveling with this year, who are going to be the people that really make the most significant impact in your story, and whose story are you impacting the most. So you're really going to identify the who that you're walking with in 2024. The who meaning the people that are going to be with you are going to rise up. You're really going to see those people coming in, but you're also going to see those people who are leaving. And that's going to become very clear this February this January on the 25th, as that full moon approaches, and maybe even the days after, you're going to start to notice this big cleansing, or you're going to see the writing on the wall. You're going to be like, that person, we just don't have we're not clicking in the same way that we used to. And so you're really stepping up with those you're going to be journeying with in a more significant way this year. Those who are really moving towards those higher timelines, those higher experiences that are moving in the same direction that you are moving, and where you can serve one another. So a lot of that shifting energy is happening. It's going to feel more pronounced than other times when you've been shifting. So you're going to be feeling the intensity of that and the precision of it. It almost comes through like a sickle that's cutting grass, or the tops of wheat, right? Where it's like very precise. It's clearing the field for you. I want to say that in a way that doesn't sound cruel or, unkind. It's doing this in order to serve everyone in their path. So everyone's sort of just being moved into the best places for them to move through 2024 and awaken to their highest experience and your highest experience. So the other aspect we kind of talked about already is that you're going to be triggered. Now, here's specifically what those triggers are about. They're about the clearing and the cleansing of relationships and of those ego patterns. But what you're also going to notice is that you're triggered in areas where the contract between you and someone needs to come to a close, or a new agreement needs to be made in order to move into dharmic connection, meaning that you are coming together to be of service to each other and to the world, or to others. You're no longer playing out karmic patterns. So you're going to feel an adjustment of that, and you're going to be triggered in a very specific way by anyone that adjustment needs to occur. And so I just wanted to kind of further point to, that's one of the most powerful aspects of this full moon, is the real dynamic, it's like this course correction. And maybe course correction isn't quite the right word, course alignment. So it's really moving everyone into place, but asking you to take responsibility for recognizing it and choosing the path over and over again. Choosing the path of higher prosperity, higher wisdom, higher awareness, higher love, higher connection. And when you're choosing that, being willing, patient, graceful, loving enough to allow everyone to choose and to either walk with you or away from you. And to know that all of that is happening in service to your highest truth and to the awakening that's happening right now on the planet. So this is a big month, really preparing us. This cycle is preparing us for a literal waterfall of incredible sped up results. So incredible abundance, incredible gifts and opportunities to utilize your gifts and to share your purpose in the world. So how incredible is that? You're being given the opportunity to really express the other side of this. So as you come through this, as you're clearing, now you have this opportunity coming up in the next cycle after that full moon, moving into the new moon cycle of February, where you're going to be really drawn in to even greater possibilities, potentials, but also into greater resources. So you're really paving the way, opening it up, clearing the field to express yourself in a new, higher way, but also to feel the expression that comes in from others, feel the dynamic of you coming into partnership with others in a way that's amplifying. So when I say amplifying, I mean more of what you love. So when you choose your highest, when you align with your highest path, you come into an alignment and experience of those highest resources, highest connections, people, money, health, well-being, all of that begins to transcend into a higher experience with you. So again, happening for you. Powerful energies. And as we lean into these powerful energies together, I just want you to know I'm in this with you. These are big energies. They've been impacting me very personally, professionally, and I'm loving it. I've been moving through my own cleansing of energies, my invitation to step up to even higher timelines of possibility, and I couldn't be more excited. I love being aware. I love what numerology allows. It allows me to really tap in and to look at my chart, to review my chart, and to get excited to see my chart was written to support my ability to continually grow, expand, and lived my greatest journey, and so was yours. So I'm excited about that, and thank you so much for tuning into this Mooncast. I'm going to invite you to come join us in our Facebook group. I'll put a link here below the video if you want to come and connect with us there. It's completely free. I'll be doing live readings on the new moon and the full moon. So on the 11th and the 25th, I'll be coming live in that private group. I'll be offering readings. So if that's something that's of interest to you and you want your own personal reflection about your chart, you want an intuitive message, you want me to channel something through for you, I would love the opportunity to connect with you more personally. So please come join us there. Thanks so much. Have a beautiful month. Bye for now.